Okay, so I'm going to resist shouting. I'm hoping the traffic taxiing past just behind us isn't going to be too noisy. In fact, let's go jump inside. We are in the IniBuilds Airbus A300 in Microsoft Flight Simulator 2024. We're going to fly from Manchester over to Berlin. We're live, so it's 9 in the evening in the UK, so it's going to get dark in a hurry. So we will have all the lights on very soon. Running say intentions in the background to provide aircraft. So, air traffic services. So I guess, actually I've just realised I've got a mistake I just need to correct. Bear with me for a few moments. I just realised I've got the wrong link in... Oh, I'm having to jump around all over the place to do this. This is not useful. Bear with me. I'll leave it on the outside view for the moment, just while I'm doing this. Okay, corrected. The link was wrong in the instructions of the video. I'm going to be following a handwritten procedure to start the airplane up. So I was just going and correcting that link, so in case anybody clicked on it, they ended up at the start procedure for the A300 and not something entirely different. So hopefully, if you are looking in YouTube, you'll have to obviously refresh your browser to get the correct link to show up. Okay, so let's go and open Navigraph. I haven't even opened Navigraph yet. So we'll show this loading the plan. I've prepared a flight plan in SimBrief. All I put in was DLH, which is obviously Deutsche Lufthansa 073. We're going from Manchester to Berlin. So I just took whatever route it gives us. We'll see how it plays out. So we're going to go into Navigraph, unload the previous flight I did, import from SimBrief and download the latest plan. And as you could see from the history in SimBrief, I've not been in the simulator much the last week, so not much in my history at all. So there's the route out of Manchester. So if we go and have a quick look, taking off from runway 23 right, following the SID out to Sonnex, and then along the airways, it's a bit of a jump then across towards quite a good star into Berlin, and it looks like we are going to be coming in. Let's go and have a look. Runway 06 left, so the OGB 1 Romeo into 06 left. So we need to go and choose ILS Zulu 6 left. So there we go. And then departing, yeah, we've already got the departure there. So we've got all of our charts now in SimBrief, which is really cool. And then we can do the same thing in little nav map. So I've got a little nav map running. I haven't got a flight plan, as you can see. So we'll close the search box. We'll go file. Sorry, flight plan. No, it is file. Open flight plan from SimBrief, download the flight plan, and it will get the latest flight plan, create that into a flight in the nav map, and it does the same thing, and it will have the same disparity here on the approach. So we can go right click. Oh, actually I think it's, no, it's got it by the look of it, but we'll just check. Show arrival, and if we show ILS Zulu 6, which runway was it? I've already forgotten. 6 left. So ILS Zulu for 6 left, and then Has it actually got a transition? Don't know. It has actually. So if we insert that, it will just go orange all the way in. Okay. So we're pretty much ready to go. Now, if you were wanting to borrow this flight plan and put it straight into the planner, the EFB within Flight Simulator, you can. So we can copy it to the clipboard from our little nav map, and we can go into planner.flightsimulator.com, and we can go to route and paste our route from little nav map and save it and close whatever we were looking at previously, and you can see there's our route showing up in planner.flightsimulator.com. So then we can save this and just save it with the default name, whatever it gives it. It's usually the ICAO codes of the departure and arrival airports. So then within the airplane, within here as well, so if you're doing this in the console, this is a good way to do it. You can go into route, and you can paste the route straight out of SimBrief as well, by the way. So then you can just go open from the web, and the one that you saved in the web will be the top of the list, and it will load up. And the advantage of doing this, if you've got an Xbox or a PlayStation, is you can then go into the charts. So I can never remember how to do this. If you go clipped charts, here we go, for this flight. So these are the charts that pertain to Manchester for the departure. So there's our SID, for example, and you get to see the Lufthansa Systems versions of the charts. Obviously, if you've got a laptop alongside, you can use that as well. So if you go to planner.flightsimulator.com, and the route will still be there, it remembers the last route you were doing. And if you go to kneeboard, it's got a slightly different name in here, but you can see there we go, there's this flight, and we got the Sonex SID. So that's our departure from Manchester, flying out, turning right. Obviously the airplane doesn't appear on here on the web version, but it's useful to have, isn't it? Cool. Anyway, making ourselves later and later with our departure. So let's go and get rid of the tablet out of the way. And let's work through our starting the airplane up. So I'm going to work through this functional procedure that I've written up. There's a link to it in the notes of the video. So Alt and 6 comes over to the tablet. We are going to go to the ground equip app, ensure ground power is connected. So we can see it's saying remove GPU, which means that it is connected, and then we're going to remove the chocks and remove the covers. Okay, say something. We go Alt 1 to go overhead. Now it would be useful once we've got the power on if we put some lights on, wouldn't it? So we'll deviate a little bit from the plan. So you can see the battery lights are here. Now there is a bug in this aeroplane at the moment. Notice the mouse. You have to be right in the middle of the buttons to activate them. 1, 2, 3. And then external power. Let me just check my volumes as well to make sure that you're hearing Flight Simulator at 100%. Yes, you are. Good. Okay, so we have the power on. We're also going to go and switch on the APU while we are about it. So if we press Alt and 2, and we can see the APU master switch is here. And then we can press the start button, so mouse has to be right in the middle of the button. Apparently it's an issue to do with the 2024 mapping of the user interface changed, and IniBuilds are aware of it. They are working on it. So then we can go back overhead, and we can go and switch each of the inertial reference units to nav mode, and we can switch this over to heading status. It won't show us anything until we've configured the MCDU. So to do that, we can go Alt 4, and we can go and clear any messages. So it's saying align IRS at the moment, so we get rid of the stack of messages. Press the init button, which obviously pulls us to the page we're already on. We're going to populate from and to, so EGCC to EDBB, I think it is, isn't it? Let's just double check that. EDDB, EGCC, EDDB. So let's press clear, and then EDDB. So we'll populate that. That will allow us to then align IRS. Then once we've done that and we go and look overhead again, you will see this has got the countdown happening towards alignment. Okay, so we are going to prepare the EFB using the SimBrief route. So first of all, we'll go over to the tablet. We'll come back out of here and we'll go to the MyFlight app, and we will import from SimBrief. And here comes the data, look, from Manchester over to Berlin, Brandenburg. Trying to remember everything now. So we've done that bit, so that's my flight. Then we go to the weight and balance app. I'm just following my own instructions here. Select update from SimBrief, and then apply the load to the aircraft. Then go back to the home screen, and then go to the Takeoff app. And we're going to go and say sync in the conditions, and then calculate. And that gives us our speeds for later. Notice it hasn't got the button that appeared on the later IniBuilds aircraft to send this to the FMGS. So we're going to have some to and fro a bit later on to go do that. Okay, so I'm now going to skip forward in my instructions, because I've got, in my procedure that I've written up, I've got the instructions to do everything manually or via SimBrief. So, we got a pro tip in the live stream. Somebody is saying the yaw dampers can be engaged after IRS alignment, but once engaged, don't switch power source for 5 minutes. Interesting. Didn't know that one. Thanks for that. So we're going to go and get our routing from SimBrief. So we're going to press a menu, press ACARS, and request SimBrief. Okay. And then we're going to go and program our departure. So if we go and look in the flight plan, we've already got all of our routing, which is really cool, isn't it? So to do a departure, we've obviously pressed flight plan already. So we select EGCC, we select SID, which is short for Standard Instrument Departure. We go and refer to our flight plan, 23 right and the Sonny 1 Romeo. So 23 right and Sonny 1 Romeo, which is not there, so we push the list up. Keep pushing it up. There it is. I think it's that button. They don't quite line up with the lines, do they? And we can insert that into our flight plan. Okay, so then we can scroll down to the other end of the flight plan. Notice they hadn't got the logic yet to put the destination on the bottom line all the time. So we're going to select Berlin, then star, and then let's go and have a look. So we're going to be arriving on the Ogby 1 Romeo into runway 06 left. So ILS Zulu 06 left, and Zulu is just the longest of the ILS approaches, and then we want Ogby 1 Romeo, so we'll scroll through them. There it is, Ogby 1 Romeo. Do we have a transition? It's the Ogba transition, so it's the closest waypoint basically. And then insert that, and then we'll just have a quick flick through to see there's no discontinuities. I'm not expecting any. Nope, it's all looking fine. So press flight plan to come back up to the top. Okay, so we've done the arrival and the approach. We're now going to remove any, we've done discontinuities. We're going to set the takeoff data, so takeoff approach button. And this is where we can fill in our numbers. Now, I don't believe this aeroplane has any shortcuts to do this. So we're going to have to go and jump across to the tablet and get V1 is 155. Was it 4? Yes. Is 155. And VR, if we go 6, is 158. Okay, And then go approach, and you can obviously go and have a look around. So landing config, blah, 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 blah. That's all fine. We'll leave that for the moment. And so then we can go back to flight plan, and we're basically ready there. Okay, so we're going to go to overhead and the flight recorder section, and we're going to switch on ground control if we can get the mouse to light up over it. Oh, is it broken? Yeah. Or maybe it's not implemented in this version, but the mouse is not enabling on it. Okay, we won't worry. We'll see if we get a warning about it. That'll be interesting, actually, unless they've gone and done something really odd with it. So overhead low, no smoking to auto. So where are the switches? There we go. Seatbelt signs can go to on or up. The lights in the eyebrow panel, strobe goes to auto. And nav and logo can go to 1. And before it gets too dark in the cockpit, should we go and do this now? Let's go and turn some lights on, shall we? So if you look down here, you've got the map lights, you've got the captain lights. I'm just going to pan down a little bit here. There's the loudspeaker, but that's the one I was turning up. So you've got dim and bright for the floodlight. So you can, it's reversed on the mouse for whatever reason, known only to the people who developed it. Okay, so we've done the lights. Of course I was looking at the stuff overhead, wasn't I? So ATS switches, by now we should have alignment, so we can turn on the yaw dampers, the pitch trims, and the ATS switches. If you haven't got alignment, they won't switch on. Window heaters, all of them need to go to on. So window heats are here, and the probe heats can go on as well now. Flight guidance and control panel. So this is this big panel here. We're going to set the decision height to on. We're going to roll it backwards so it goes to -5. Set the heading select to the runway direction. So if we go and have a look on which chart shall we use? This one will do, won't it? Go and look at the airport. Now we're taking off 23 right. So runway directions 231 degrees. Again, this is just a safety thing really, because we're going to press nav. (231 degrees). Set the speed Mach as appropriate, so we'll set it to, you would usually go just a bit quicker than your V2. But we're going to, we'll set it out to 180. It just means on the climb out, the airplane will aim to try and hit 180. Unless we're going to do, more than that. So we could go for 200, to be honest. I don't think we've got any big turn. Oh, we have got a fairly sharp turn. We'll see what happens. Altitude select to the initial climb altitude. So this is the point where we're going to start to involve, say, intentions and go and get our clearance. So first of all, we go to ATIS, and hopefully it'll wake up. We're at Manchester. We're waiting for the ATIS. Oh, do I need to turn the radios on? No, VHF1 is on. What's going on? Interesting. Let's go to the radio check channel and just check everything's working. Radio check. Lufthansa 073. Yeah, we heard the squelch then.
This is what the ATC audio sounds like, and next is what yours sounds like.
Radio check. Lufthansa 073. Okay, so that's working. Let's try. Yeah, ATIS isn't coming up for some reason. Is there another ATIS that I don't know about? Is this even working? Let's check the radios. So we've got ILS, we've got VOR radios. I can't remember what the comm radios are. Oh my word. It's terrible. I've flown too many different airplanes recently. But we've proven that the frequencies are changing. Obviously the ATIS is wrong. Where did they hide the VHF radio tuning? Oh, unless it is in here, because the ACAR's down in here, isn't it? Is there a tune button? There is. There we go. So it's digital tuning on these panels. The interesting thing is, obviously in different airplanes, you get different panels that are fitted on different models all over the place. And in this one, they've got digital radio tuners. Or that's the way it's been implemented anyway. So 118010, if we go to ATIS, it's not picking it up, is it? Does that mean it's not picking any of them up? So if I go to clearance, this is interesting actually. I'm just looking at this and wondering what's going on with it. If we do an airport lookup and do EGCC clearance 121705, it's not doing it, is it? So does that mean we can actually get ATIS after all? 12198. Yes, we can.
Advise on initial contact. You have information echo.
That's what we wanted to know, was what information we have.
Manchester Airport. Information echo. 1920.
That's a shame that this is not
Arriving
connecting to the
23
airplane.
right.
It's obviously an issue with this
Departing
airplane.
23 left. Wind calm. Visibility 10. Rain.
So the live stream, someone's asking, does the
13,
A300 still have the
2.10.
tiny click spot bug? Oh yes.
1017.
So this is
Transition
great,
level
isn't it? Now I
60.
can't see the
Advise
frequencies
on initial
to
contact.
get rid
You
of
have
this.
information
I'll have to
echo.
just detune it.
Manchester Airport. Information echo.
Recall 122800. There we go. Because 1228, we want clearance 121705. So 121705. Stick that in. Information echo. Clearance Lufthansa 073 requesting clearance to Berlin with information echo.
Give me 1 second for that clearance.
I wonder why that's not working. Go back over to ATC.
Lufthansa 073, cleared to Berlin via the Sonex 1 Romeo departure runway 23 right. Initial climb to 5,000 feet. Departure on 118.58, squawk 7371.
Cleared to Berlin via the Sony 1 Romeo departure. Departure runway 23 right. Initial climb to 5,000 feet. Departure 118.58, squawk 7371. Lufthansa 073. Okay, so squawk 7371, let's go sort that out straight away.
Lufthansa 073, read back correct. Ground is on 121.855, safe flight, sir.
So there's the ATC. We can see the TCAS is on standby at the moment. We'll fix that when we get to the runway. Let's go and clear out that warning as well. That's annoying. Okay, so they gave us our initial altitude. That was the important thing as well. 5,000 feet.
The entire crew, my name is Astrid Hansen, and I would like to extend a warm welcome.
So we can pre-select nav mode, which will show here.
And heading to Berlin. We kindly ask you
Can
to
we
take
do
your
both?
seats
No.
according to your boarding passes,
And
stow your
can we
hand
do
luggage in
a
overhead bins or under
profile
the
would
seats
be
in front of you.
the rough
If you
equivalent
require any
of
assistance,
VNAV.
Please do not hesitate to reach out to any member
So
of our crew. Thank you for choosing
what
to
we'll
fly
try
with us today,
is
and we wish you a pleasant
vertical speed to begin with, and then go, although we could do level change, couldn't we? And then go profile once we've taken off. Okay, anyway, let's not worry too much about all of that. So we've pre-selected the nav mode, we've set the altitude selector to the initial climb altitude. So then go and press comma, which will automate setting the altimeters to the current barometric pressure. We're going to go and uncage the secondary or backup attitude indicator. We can set the landing altitude. We could do this en route, but we may as well do it now while we're at it. So this is for the pressurization or environmental control system, I should say. So have we got the elevation of the airfield? It'll be on the ILS chart, won't it? 144. It's closer to 100 feet than it's not going to make a lot of difference, to be honest. Okay. Okay, so the APU's obviously been running for ages, so we'll just check that. Everything's looking fine overhead. External power can go to off, therefore. So bus transfer happens automatically. And then we can go over to the tablet and disconnect the ground power. So ground equipment, remove the GPU from the aeroplane, and we can press pushback, but we want to go to do pushback clearance first, so we're going to have to go and find out the frequency. Let's see if this is working yet, see if it's started behaving itself. So if I go to ground, it did not change the frequency. We want 121855. So one. I wonder if I can still talk to them regardless. That's interesting. Yeah, I think Say Intentions takes notice of this from the sim. This is just for guidance. So me clicking on this here is not actually setting it for Say Intentions. Manchester ground, Lufthansa 073 requesting pushback and engine start.
Lufthansa 073, push and start approved, face northeast.
Push and start approved, face northeast, Lufthansa 073. So let's go and have a look on our chart, see where we are. We want to be facing... Why do they want us to face that way? So tail to the right. Interesting. Let's have a little look on Little Nav Map, because that's got a bit finer grained. Are they really going to send us all the way around? Romeo, November Charlie, November Alpha. Well, we'll see what happens, shall we? So, can we control the pushback in here? Yes, we can. So, pushback started. And let's see what's happening outside. So, parking brake is off. It's so long since I've flown the A300. This radio issue is not helping, but we'll just carry on and see how we get on. So we want the tail to go to the right, don't we? so that we end up facing northeast.
Ladies and gentlemen,
Yeah,
we are now
so we want to be facing that way.
heading to Berlin. Our estimated flight time is approximately 1 hour and 30 minutes. Please pay close attention to the upcoming safety demonstration, as it contains important information for everyone.
Okay,
even flyers.
stop the pushback.
Fasten your seatbelts by inserting the metal
Parking brake
tape
back
into the
on.
buckle and pulling the strap to tighten. The seatbelt must be fastened whenever the seatbelt
So
sign
Alt
is
2 takes us overhead, beacon light goes on. Fuel pumps all go to on. So this is going to take a while because I've got to hit those tiny click spots in the middle of the buttons. You can see me hunting for them.
Larger devices should be securely stowed. Smoking and the use of e-cigarettes are prohibited anywhere on board, including the lavatories. Oxygen masks will drop automatically if needed. Pull the mask firmly, place it over
That's
your
that done.
nose and mouth, and breathe normally. Remember to secure your own mask before assisting.
So APU bleed.
Life vests are located under
It's
your
over here.
seat. Put
So
them
switch it
and
on.
inflate only after leaving the aircraft. Floor level lighting
And there we go, the line has gone horizontal and you heard the sound change there.
In case of evacuation,
Ignition system goes to A.
crew instructions immediately.
And I'll do this from the normal view and just use the mouse to pan around to show you this. So we're going to go and open the valve
The safety
on
information
engine
card
number 2.
contains all details. Thank you
And then
for
if you
your
look down
attention.
here, we'll see it's spinning up. Do we get another light at the back? Doesn't look like it, does it? Anyway, it's come through 20%, which I believe is the number we're looking for. There we go. Exhaust gas temperature is rising and the turbofan speed is increasing. Need to be careful in this aeroplane of the gear switch. It's a three-way switch by the look of it. I'm not sure if it's implemented that way, but I've had accidents with that in the past with the Airbus controllers. So we got the best comment in the live stream. Somebody who used to work on the A300. What a pain in the arse of a jet to work on. I wonder what was so difficult about it. Okay, so engine's up and running. So if we go and look overhead, we can now go and start engine number 1. We can see it spinning up. So that's the APU providing the compressed air to spin the gas turbine up. So that's the axle speed. Once it comes through 20%, it's going quick enough that when you add fuel to it and light it, it will spin itself up even faster, which is what's just happening now. It's interesting, isn't it, the way jet engines work? I mean, obviously it's more complicated than I'm making it sound, but essentially you get them spinning fast enough that you then light some fuel and spray it into the gas turbine and it drives itself. There we go, that's the relay switch over to generation of power from the engines now. So if we go and look overhead, you will see the lights have both gone out here, so ignition can go off. You can use continuous as well. I'm not going to. So, post engine start, we go back overhead. APU bleed can go back to off. APU master switch. Oh, I've got a bit of a mistake in my instructions here, but anyway, that's that done. We haven't armed the emergency lights, have we? Completely missed that earlier. I must have been busy talking. External power is off. So we'll just go and double check that. Yep, we did remove the external power earlier, didn't we? So then we can pull up the speed brake lever to arm the ground spoilers. set the flaps for takeoff. We'll go and double check them in the takeoff performance calculator because I wasn't looking properly earlier. 15 degrees.
Golf Foxtrot
So let's
Echo
just
November
come
India,
outside.
runway 23 left taxi via Alpha, Charlie Papa, hold short of runway 23 right, then Delta Zulu Tango. Runway 23 left taxi via Alpha.
Set
Charlie
trim for
Papa,
takeoff.
hold short of runway 23 right, then Delta Zulu Tango Golf Foxtrot Echo
So
November
THS,
India.
it says 0. Okay, we want 0 trim. Interesting, I haven't seen that for a long time. So we need to go the other way. Okay, let's just have a quick look at the screen. See, we're on minimum range on here. We can put the constraints on as well, so we'll see the numbers on the navigation display, so we can go taxi. I need to get clearance first though. We're still on ground, so we should just be able to talk to them. I'm going to pull up the map of the airport first though, just to help us out. Manchester ground, Lufthansa 073, requesting taxi to runway 23 right. Now, they're going to get us to go the opposite direction, having made us face northeast.
Lufthansa 073, runway 23 right taxi via November Charlie, November Bravo, Echo Quebec, Echo Delta Papa Kilo Juliet.
They love their squirrely routes, don't they? Taxi via November Charlie, November Bravo, Echo Quebec, Echo Delta Papa Kilo Juliet, Lufthansa 073. So, November Charlie, let's go and sketch this out. November Bravo, this is kind of what we said, wasn't it? And then Echo, so then turn left. Then Quebec. Where's Quebec? Can anybody see Quebec? Echo. Am I blind? What's after Quebec? So Echo, Echo, Delta. Echo, Echo, Delta. Papa, Kilo, Juliet. Papa, Kilo, Juliet. So they want us to basically do a loop and then along there. Oh, something I want to check before we go anywhere. I'm just going to go and bring the airplane to a halt and put the parking brake back on. I haven't checked my throttles yet. They're in. This has got. It hasn't got the reverses in the same way that the more modern Airbus throttle quadrants have. So they basically want us to go over towards this building and then go left. Yeah, there's not a big enough gap, look. So, is there anyone there? No one's going to notice, are they, if we shortcut this? So they want Delta. So Delta all the way down, then Papa, then Kilo Juliet. taxi light on. Not that it's going to wonderfully light the ground up in front of us, but it's better than nothing.
November India, cross runway 23 right. Runway 23 right, Golf Foxtrot Echo November India.
So we stay to the right here, I guess, and then left again. Just going to check that. Hopefully I'm not getting lost here. No, I have gone too far. We're going to have to double back. Hopefully I don't get told off for this. We should have been over there. It's sometimes really difficult in the sim because everything glows in the night and it makes it difficult to read things. There's no other aeroplanes around. So we've got free rein to cause havoc.
Golf Foxtrot Echo November India, contact tower on 118.63.
So we'll be needing to cross this runway, won't we? On Papa. So we'll carry on a little bit further, then we'll stop and get our permission to cross it. Is there any lights in the sky either end? Oh no, we're Kilo, aren't we? We're not crossing. I'm being an absolute numpty today. Can we get away with this? How good is the turning circle? I mean, we could play games of going for reverses and reversing the aeroplane. We're going to get muddy tyres. There we go. So Kilo Juliet. Nobody saw. Can't prove anything. Except obviously in Flight Simulator 2024 there'll now be some enormous gouges in the grass next to that taxiway. Thankfully it's not daytime, so nobody can see them until the morning, and then we can blame somebody else. We're going to go full runway length. They haven't told us which point to go to actually, but we'll go full runway length.
Lufthansa 073, contact tower on 118.63.
Contacting tower 118.63, Lufthansa 073. So we're going to hold short.
9er Echo, ready to taxi.
And 118.63. Manchester Tower, Lufthansa 073, holding short, runway 23 right.
Lufthansa 073.
03, heavy, Manchester Tower, runway 23 right, winds calm, cleared for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, 23 right, Lufthansa 073. So while we're taxiing at this last little bit, let's go and turn the landing lights on. Oops. And the strobes can go to on. And those can go to takeoff. Whoa, what's happening? We were going faster than I thought then.
Approaching.
Nearly ran out of taxiway.
3 right.
So shift space. So we've been given clearance, we can go, can't we? I'm just double checking things around the cockpit. Auto brakes, let's go and go through the list. APU is running, seatbelts are on, no smoking is on, auto brakes are on max. TCAS is on. We haven't got TCAS on yet, so let's go and sort that out while we're at it. So that's going to be down here, and we go and click the button next to it and put it on TA only during takeoff. We can see the navigation display there with the constraints on it. I'm going to leave this in quite a panoramic view so I can click on things quickly. Let's just familiarise ourselves. Auto throttle is here. I can't remember if this will come on its own. So the auto... It's really dark over here, isn't it? However they modelled this is not wonderful. Can we... Has it got knobs underneath this too? No. But there's the auto pilot switches. It's not wonderfully lit, is it? And we were given clearance. Okay, let's go. The sooner we get off the ground, the safer we are. It's quite hilly, this runway, isn't it? Gear up. Autopilot number 1 on. We're doing level change up to 5,000 feet. Nav mode is on. So let's see what happens when the airplane reaches that first step. So flaps can come up. The auto throttle didn't engage on its own, so we'll set that to 250 knots now.
Lufthansa 073, contact Manchester departure on 118.58.
Contacting departures 118.58, Lufthansa 073. Departures Lufthansa 073, departing on the Sunny 1 Romeo departure. I should have told them the altitude I'm going to as well.
Lufthansa 073, heavy Manchester departure identified, climb flight level 150, direct D294 Golf.
Better get that correct. Climb flight level 150, direct D294 Golf, Lufthansa 073. So that may be on our route already, actually. Yeah, it is, look, that is the next waypoint. So 150, which is 15,000 feet. I'll do level change to get there. The transition altitude will be 6,000, so we'll need to go and tune in the various altimeters. There's 3 of them, as far as I'm aware. So we'll have to put them all to 2992.
Lufthansa 073, climb flight level 230.
Climbing flight level 230, Lufthansa 073. So we've gone through 6,000 feet, so this goes to 2992. This one goes to 2992. This one goes to... Oh, it's a problem, isn't it, being the only person in the cockpit. 2992. We're racing up towards 10,000 feet, at which point the landing lights will come off as well. The flaps are up, gear is up, auto throttle's on. So it's 10,000 feet, landing lights off and retracted. The nose light can come off as well, and the ground spoilers are not needed anymore.
We are pleased to inform you that the use
We're in icing range with the engines and the wings, so we need to go and sort that out.
Thank you for your attention, and we hope you enjoy your flight with Lufthansa.
I think it's on auto by default on the wings. Anyway. Have we still got the APU running? I thought I turned it off. Oh, the APU master switch is still on. That's my bad. I should have caught that earlier. Okay, we're good. So, I'm being asked in the live stream, would I prefer the A300 or the TriStar? There's more to do in the TriStar, but that means the workload is higher, there's far more to go wrong, but the sense of achievement is that much better. The thing the TriStar has that this doesn't, I'm just going to see if I can move this one away.
Flight level 330.
Climbing flight level 330, Lufthansa 073. So yeah, the sense of achievement, I think, in the TriStar of executing a flight well is that much higher because of it being that much more difficult or more involved, and it has a properly simulated inertial navigation system, which is quite the thing to have, really. Okay, we're on our way to Germany.
Lufthansa 073, contact London Control on 133.6.
Contacting London Control 133.6, Lufthansa 073. Sorry, London Control Lufthansa 073 with you, climbing to flight level 330.
Lufthansa 073, London Control, identified. Hello.
We're on our way. Yeah, so the A300 is great fun. It's got some bugs. The TriStar is obviously the latest, greatest thing that IniBuilds have done, and it's really good. The main reason I'm in the A300 tonight, as I said right at the start, is somebody emailed me recently and said, you haven't been in the A300 for ages, could you do a flight in it, just to show how it works and how you work through things? Well, we need to go and change this over. We're in toga mode at the moment, so MCT mode while we're climbing, maximum continuous thrust. This is the thrust control system. It's kind of the forerunner of the clever digital auto throttle systems in is it the BAE 146 had the thrust modulation system, I think it was called, which had all sorts of clever tricks, and they're kind of a halfway house until you get to obviously to the more modern Airbuses that have got full automation of the throttles, and yeah, it's all clever stuff. Okay, so we can see that our climb is being estimated. So 330 is our cruise level this evening. So let's have a look. Why do we not have any time estimate? 0 fuel weight, center of gravity. Did I not do... Oh, that was just the messages from earlier. Yeah, why does this have no timings on it? Is that a bug? It should have done it, shouldn't it? There's no discontinuities that would stop it from calculating it. It had all the weights. Or did it? Of course, you can't see them once you're in the air to go and program them. I wonder if I missed a page out. Again, I said at the start, really rusty with this aeroplane. I'm just wondering if the reason I'm not getting timings is it hasn't got weight information. I wonder if I can do it now I'm in the air. It doesn't look like it, does it? Fuel prediction. Estimated fuel on block. We can figure this out from the Navigraph. Sorry, the Simbri flight plan, can't we? So if we open the load sheet and say that takeoff fuel was 14.2. Because you've got final reserves in here as well. So trip 7.3 plus that. Yeah, so 14.2. Oh, 14.2. This might end up no, it won't let us calculate it. Look. Oh, it just wants a CG then. That's what it was missing. I wonder if that's what's throwing it off. So if we go back and look over here, it was 30.4. Yeah, I missed it during the startup, didn't I? So will that now give us the calculations? It gives us the flight levels, but not the timings. I wonder if oh, there we go. Just took a moment to do it. There we go. Figure these things. Okay, icing's gone off now, so we can turn off the engine anti-ice and the wing. So we've got the seatbelt sign on there for another few thousand feet, then we can turn that off and passengers can get up and move around. Yeah, I need to revise those notes then about the startup, unless I just missed it while I was populating the fields. I have a feeling I've missed out. Yeah, it's just not on my instructions to populate the CG. I didn't do it. And therefore I didn't get timings. All I was looking for was to see when we get to top of descent. About 10 PM, okay. And we've got a clock here, so in about an hour. I always forget to start the chronometer to get a journey time. That would be really cool, wouldn't it? I need to put it on my checklist of things to do.
London Control, Sky Europe 473, flight level 270.
So we've got Amanda next to us in the cockpit, so we can ask her to take over radio comms so I can go get a coffee. Hi Amanda, can you take over radio communications?
Sure, Jonathan, I'll handle the radio communications from now on.
So that makes the bind we have of programming the codes a lot easier. So she'll take care of that now throughout the rest of the flight, so I'll just follow the instructions as they are given. Should we have a look from outside? Okay, we're coming up towards cruise. Should we go and turn the seatbelt sign off? Hi cabin crew, we've just turned the seatbelt signs off. You can let the passengers get up now.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are pleased to inform you that the seatbelt signs have been turned off. You may now move about the cabin. However, we kindly ask that you remain seated when the seatbelt sign is illuminated.
So we can also turn the thrust management system over to cruise mode. So the reason for putting the gear lever in the middle is it depressurizes the cylinders on the undercarriage, so you don't wear all the valves out and everything. Well, that's as far as I understand.
Down to flight level 170. Cleared for the Daventry 1 Echo arrival into East Midlands land track 108.
Cleared for the Daventry 1 Echo arrival into East Midlands.
Dear guests, we are now at cruising altitude, and the cabin crew will begin the snack and beverage service shortly. We invite you to enjoy our delicious pretzels and refreshing beverages from our menu.
Right.
After the service, selected items from the Lufthansa shop.
I'm going to go and
thank you for your attention.
Have a coffee, and I'll be back in time for top of descent. So I should be back shortly before 10 p.m. UTC, which will be 11 p.m. my local time. I will just double check that to have a look at it. So we scroll through. Yeah, top of descent is showing 10 o'clock. What's the wind doing? Could it affect it? I wonder. Navigraph. If we close the airport chart and zoom out, we'll see ourselves projected on the map. Still over the UK at the moment. We're at cruise altitude and we're on our way towards Berlin. Is there any other aircraft about? Should we have a look on a little nav map? That will tell us. There's a couple coming towards us. They're much slower than us.
Channel 41, Juliet Bravo, radar contact.
Do we get a map on this tablet? En route map, that would be perfect. Oh, it's bright, isn't it? Can we get a nighttime version of it? That's the standard one. Has it not got Navigraph as an option? So if I come back into charts now, no, or en route, is it going to prompt for Navigraph? No. I've seen this before in some of these aeroplanes where you have to leave the aeroplane and come back to get it to
London Control,
to trigger it.
Easy 48 Foxtrot Victor, flight level 220.
Easy 48 Foxtrot Victor, radar contact.
Oh, here we go, Navigraph. So if we go to en route map, and it still hasn't got it, but then is that a bit of wacky logic in there in here that this will then work with clear login? Credentials cleared, but then I can't provide them because this hasn't reset itself. That's a bit mad, isn't it? We can do this. Supports CPDLC. That's interesting. I wonder if we had to do it before the flight for it to become available.
Foxtrot Victor, contact Brussels Control on 125.0.
switching to Brussels control on 125.0. Easy 48 Foxtrot Victor.
Yeah, I'm not going to play with it without knowing how it works. Normally it would be in the ATSU AOC menu on an A320, but I'm not sure in the A300. So CPDLC allows you to send text messages back and forth from the controllers, and they might typically do that for flight level changes and things like that. Or for you to request to go around weather, for example. Why won't it let me come back into Navigraph? That's rather interesting. Because this map's a bit rubbish, isn't it? Unless it's only for the charts. Oh yes, it is. That makes sense. So we can pull up charts. So EDDB, for example, search, and we are coming in on, what did we say? Kneeboard. This flight. Sonics is the SID. Where's the... Interesting. Why is it not showing us the star? Because we got one here. It was the Ogba 1 Romeo, wasn't it? But anyway, so inside the aeroplane we should be able to look up I wonder if I can search for it here. No, that's only for the, obviously the airfield. What was it named as? Ketap. Keto 1 Romeo, Ogba 1 Romeo. There it is. Top of the list. Okay, so if we leave that on there, we'll see ourselves appear on there a bit later on when we come into. We'll come in from the left-hand side into Ogba. If this shows us our location, I'm not sure that it will, but at least it's in dark mode, which is helpful.
Hi, Captain Jonathan. Would you like anything to drink or a small snack while we're cruising?
No, thank you. Thank you very much, though.
Thank you, Captain. I appreciate it.
Okay, I'm going to step away for a bit. I'll leave a message here. I will be back in time for top of descent in about 3/4 of an hour then.
Lufthansa 073, contact London Control on 121.23.
Switching to London Control on 121.23. Lufthansa 073, heavy. London Control, Lufthansa 073. Good evening at flight level 330.
Lufthansa 073, London Control identified. Good evening. Lufthansa 073, contact Amsterdam radar on 118.805.
Switching to Amsterdam radar on 118.805. Lufthansa 073. Amsterdam radar, Lufthansa 073. Good evening at flight level 330.
Lufthansa 073, Amsterdam radar identified. Good evening. Lufthansa 073, contact Bremen radar on 125.025.
Switching to Bremen radar on 125.025. Lufthansa 073. Bremen radar, Lufthansa 073. Good evening at flight level 330.
Lufthansa 073, Bremen radar identified. Good evening.
I'm just making sure the volume works before I start talking away. Just checking in on the aeroplane, making sure it's okay. I will be back with you when we are a bit closer to the top of descent. As you can see, if we look on the estimate on the nav map, the estimated top of descent is shortly before Batel. If we go and have a look in the aeroplane, or Batov, that's saying, that's okay, top of descent is estimated differently inside the aeroplane. Obviously that's taking into account more factors than I am in the nav map, which is interesting. Let's go and increase the range on the navigation display so we can see, there we go, the end of the route coming. It's obviously cluttered because it's massively clumping together those last few waypoints, and I've got the constraints switched on. But yeah, we're getting there. We're whistling across Germany. I'll be back in about 15 minutes or so, I guess. So we're about 100 miles away from top of descent. See you in a few minutes.
Lufthansa 073. Expect the OG Bear 1 Romeo arrival. Descent in about 20 minutes. Just say the word if you'd like to start down earlier.
Expect the OGB 1 Romeo arrival. Descent in about 20 minutes. Lufthansa 073.
I just noticed we were doing 250 knots and we're right back to almost stall speed, which is not great. Let's speed this aeroplane up and get us into a half decent position to descend into Berlin. Apologies for that. I don't know, I walk away at top of descent, at top of climb, and don't remember to speed the aeroplane up. So we have basically an hour's worth of tootling along as slow can be. So we should see top of descent, yeah, look, it's gone out 10 minutes later than it should have been, because we were going so slowly. So I've increased our target cruise speed and the engines have revved up to 96%. So, rule number 1, don't walk away having not increased your speed once you reach top of climb. We've saved loads of fuel, by the way. The passengers aren't going to be very happy though, and we'll probably get fined at the airport at the other end for being so late. Or we would in a more realistic simulator. Let's go and pull the range back down to 120 miles now. So we can see Battelle is coming top of descent in about 60 miles time. Let's see from Amanda, the co-pilot, what's been going on. Hi Amanda, have we had any complaints about travelling so slowly?
No complaints have been reported regarding our speed, Captain. Everything appears normal in the cabin.
Did you not notice that I hadn't increased our speed once we reached altitude?
I acknowledge, Captain. I will check on the cabin and see if there are any concerns regarding our speed.
I'm afraid we're going to be a little bit late arriving into Berlin.
Understood, Captain. I'll keep the passengers informed as needed. Ladies and gentlemen, we would like to inform you that we may arrive a bit later than scheduled in Berlin. Thank you for your understanding.
Hi Amanda, did you realise we were travelling far more slowly than we should have been?
We're currently at 446 knots, which is within our expected cruise speed for this phase of the flight. If you have any concerns, let me know.
Yeah, but earlier we were only at 250. That's a bit terrible, isn't it?
We were at a slower speed earlier, but we're back on track now. If you have any concerns about our speed, let me know.
Captain, I checked on the cabin, and there are no concerns regarding our speed. Passengers seem comfortable and are enjoying the flight.
It's
Everything
great,
is
isn't
running
it?
smoothly.
Say Intentions is wonderful sometimes, it really is. The sense of immersion with this sort of stuff is just fantastic. Should we ask the cabin crew if they've got any peanuts left? Hi cabin crew, have you got any peanuts left?
Understood, Captain. I will check on the peanuts and bring them to you shortly.
Oh, it's wonderful. It really is. Okay, so we are about 40 miles from top of descent at Battelle. We need to go and look at our performance data and program in the destination. Where are we?
Hi, Captain Jonathan. Would you like anything to drink or a small snack?
No, we're fine, thank you.
Thank you, Captain.
Economy cruise. Okay, so this plane doesn't have the same performance data that the later Airbuses have. So we don't have to put in the destination data. We're just going to descend down. We just need to be aware of it, obviously. So looking and hovering over Berlin in little nav map, we can see the METAR. Variable 2 knots, there's no wind. It's fine. So we fly in towards Ogba, then we start descending. Let's go and look at Navigraph and pre-arm ourselves with knowing what we are facing. So below 120, so that's 12,000 feet. Above 8,000 feet, above 6,000 feet. Still above 6,000, so we want to
Captain,
be...
I checked, and we have plenty of peanuts available.
So these
I'll
are
bring some to the
above
cockpit
constraints. I've actually gone and checked the peanuts, fantastic. So the only thing we need to be aware of there, look, is we're above these. That doesn't mean you hit them. I see this so commonly when I'm on group flights where people try and hit these altitudes. No. You need to be, by the time you get to here at 6,000 feet, and then, well, really 3,000 feet by the time you get to here, but yeah, not below 6,000 here. Okay, so if we do a descent, I wonder if this will work on profile mode in descent and hit the constraints for us. It would be interesting to try it, wouldn't it? So we're going to bring the range down again. You can see Battelle is coming, and we're going to inform air traffic services that we're about to start descending. We'll wait a little bit longer, but our initial descent will be on the star. So we'll be looking for flight level 120 at Ogba, at least. So if we change this, will it immediately start descending? No, it won't. So I will click the top half of this button to set 12,000 and then go go profile mode, and we'll keep an eye on the constraints. I don't know if it's going to do it, because as I said earlier, it's a long time since I flew this aeroplane in the simulator, and I don't remember. Oh, we have some great feedback in the live stream. So Dylan is saying that profile mode usually works decently for him. So fingers crossed it will hold the constraints. It'd be interesting to see if we get any kind of marker on the altitude ribbon to show the profile versus, or required versus actual. So who are we talking to on the radio? Let's go and have a look. We're going to go and talk to them briefly. Bremen radar. Actually, that's an interesting point. Can we ask the co-pilot, because she's doing comms at the moment, can we ask her to announce top of descent? Hi Amanda, can you announce that we're going to begin descending?
I can't announce our descent without being in charge of the comms. You need to handle that, Jonathan.
Are you not in charge of the comms at the moment?
No, Jonathan. You're currently in charge of the comms. Let me know if you want me to take over.
You can take over. Please announce top of descent.
I'll take over the comms and announce our top of descent.
So it should be now. So I'm going to go profile and mark 12,000. So watch the, there it goes, it's descending. 1,000 feet a minute at the moment. She's not going to announce it, is she? I'm going to go...
Lufthansa 073, contact Bremen radar on 125.3.
Switching to Bremen radar on 125.3. Lufthansa 073. Bremen radar, Lufthansa 073. Good evening, descending flight level 330.
That's wrong. She's
Lufthansa 073, Bremen radar identified. Good evening.
Okay. Hi Amanda, I'll take over radio comms now.
All right, Jonathan, you're in charge of the radio comms now.
Bremen radar, Lufthansa 073. We are descending to 12,000 feet on the Ogby 1 Romeo arrival into Berlin.
I'll handle the communication with Bremen radar.
Oh, I used the wrong... I used the wrong button. It's okay, Amanda, I'll take over radio comms.
All right, Jonathan, you're in charge of the radio comms now.
Bremen radar, Lufthansa 073, descending to 12,000 feet on the Ogby 1 Romeo arrival into Berlin.
Lufthansa 073, descend via Ogby 1 Romeo to 3000 into Berlin, QNH 1020.
Descending to 3,000 feet on the Ogby 1 Romeo into Berlin. Copy the QNH, Lufthansa 073. Yeah, so the first time I did that, I pressed the intercom button instead of the ATC button, which was super useful. I didn't achieve anything. So look at the constraints arriving. This is awesome,
Ladies
isn't
and
it?
gentlemen, we have now left our cruising altitude and have started our approach to Berlin.
So
Please
let's go
return
and
to
put
your
the
seats,
seats.
stow your tables, fasten your seatbelts, and note that the use of the lavatories is no longer allowed. Thank you for your cooperation.
We are in icing conditions, so let's go and switch on the anti-icing measures. What is the outside air temperature in Berlin this evening? Doesn't tell us there, does it? Can we get the weather here? We can get it from Little Nav Map actually. If I go back around in a circle, there we go. Window, open window layout, default. We can also do it in Navigraph, but so this is the way you can do it in Little Nav Map. You click on the airport and then you can scroll sideways and you can see there's the airport, and then there's tabs here for the various information about the airport, and you can see the weather, and you can see 11 centigrade, obviously, yeah, so we've got at altitude we're below freezing, but once we get down, and obviously it's due to dew point as well. We're descending really quickly, aren't we? So while we are busy descending, let's go and have a look at the ILS and make sure we've got everything tuned in correctly. So we want 110.7, 64 degrees on the course. So down here in the middle you can see ILS has its own setting, 110.7, and was it 63? 64 degrees. Okay.
Lufthansa 073, contact Berlin approach on 121.13.
Contacting Berlin approach 121.13 Lufthansa 073. 121.13. So 121.13. We want to see this here, don't we? Berlin approach, Lufthansa 073 with you, descending on the Ogby 1 Romeo, arrival into Berlin, expecting runway 06 left.
Lufthansa 073, heavy, Berlin approach identified. Guten Abend. Expect the ILS Yankee runway 6 left approach into Berlin.
Expecting ILS Yankee 06 left approach into Berlin, Lufthansa 073. So we need to change that slightly. It doesn't make a lot of difference to us because it's almost a straight in anyway. But if we go flight plan, scroll through and find EDDB, there it is, and then go, nope, that's not what we wanted, flight plan. Zulu isn't going to hurt us in this situation anyway. I'm just wondering why that wouldn't let us change it. There's the alternate. There's EDDB. There's OGBA. I wonder if they haven't quite got this configured. Anyway.
Lufthansa 073. Hey sir, maintenance is working on the approach line. Hold at Ogibea as published. Left turn, won't be long. 5 to 10 minutes at the most.
Hold at Ogba as published, left turns, Lufthansa 073. So we need to import a hold at Ogba in a hurry.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some exciting news. Our Captain Jonathan has just achieved a remarkable milestone by successfully navigating us through a hold by air traffic control. This means we are currently flying at a cruising altitude of 33,000 feet, and you can enjoy some breathtaking views out of your
No, we're
windows.
not at 33,000 feet.
Thank you for your patience and understanding as we prepare for our approach into Berlin. We appreciate your cooperation.
So we need to, this has thrown everything sideways slightly. We need to go and look at the chart very quickly at the Ogba.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have some exciting news. Our Captain Jonathan has just achieved a remarkable milestone by successfully navigating us through a hold by air traffic.
Is this going to do it?
This means we are currently flying at a cruising altitude.
It should carry on turning.
12,000 feet, and you can enjoy some breathtaking.
We don't want to get any lower than 12,000.
Thank you for your patience and understanding as we prepare for our approach into Berlin. We appreciate your cooperation.
Yeah, we've already dropped to 11,000 feet, look. So let's just do an altitude hold at 11, where we are. So we're in the hold at Ogba. Hopefully they won't hold us here for too long. And then we'll start descending again. This is one of the really nice things that they've added to Say Intentions recently. That it will throw curveballs at you now and again. So as they said, they're working on the runway lights. So they need to hold us here for a moment, or for a few minutes. Hopefully we won't be here for too long. We'll probably get a direct 2 in a moment. Let's pull the range back down on the navigation display so we can see a little bit better what's going on. we're going too fast, look, to make... Again, this is a failing of the aeroplane navigation system. It's having some real fun and games, look, trying to figure out how to direct us. It's not flying the racetrack at all. So it should have straightened up, really. It's just doing orbits through Ogba until we tell it to continue on down the range. So we'll do a direct 2 to one of the future waypoints to get out of the hold. It's having a bit of a nightmare trying to do the hold. This is how you learn, though. This is how you figure out what some aeroplanes can do and what they can't. And it's not a massive problem. It's just we can deal with it. I mean, to be honest, this is doing such a poor job. I'm almost tempted to go to heading select mode. So let's take it out the other side of Ogba and take this down to 220 knots. And bring the range down even further. It's having a very, very poor job at trying to do this itself, so we're going to take over and guide it into the racetrack.
Delta Oscar Echo Kilo Zulu contact Bremen radar on 136.45.
136.45 for Delta Oscar Echo Kilo Zulu.
So I put the first stage of flaps out as well, which will help us manoeuvre a little bit better. Yeah, it's having an absolute nightmare, look. It doesn't understand. As soon as we do a direct 2, it will be fine. So I've just put in 260, that's probably going to be about the right amount, isn't it, to come back down the back end of the racetrack. Yeah. And then we'll obviously fly the reciprocal, which will be 80 degrees. So aeroplane's levelling out. There we go. So we recovered the aeroplane from its panic stations it put itself into. If in doubt, always go selected mode and just tell it what to do.
Delta Mike Tango Golf Lima contact Bremen radar on 136.45.
Well, we're supposed to be doing left turns.
For Delta Mike Tango Golf Lima.
We're doing right turns. Oh well, no one's told us off. if we wanted to do that, just so you can see it, we've got a hold right at the moment. So if we were to clear the right hold and then clear the discontinuity, and then if we went into Ogba again and did the hold, what you're supposed to do, it was supposed to be left, you type L and then left and return, and then look at the flight plan. Let's do that again. Hold, left, and insert. There we go. So we're now obviously going the opposite way, but if we go and spin ourselves round back onto 80 degrees, we'll do left turns. It's probably worth that mistake to show you that you can set the direction of the hold, because it's such a rare thing for me to do that on the stream. It's quite often, if I fly with my air on their flights, they'll throw the odd hold in and have us all descending over the top of each other, which is always good fun. So we're just turning to the reciprocal. You can see there's the left-hand racetrack. We were on the right-hand racetrack. And again, my bad, that was because I didn't read the instructions. Let's hope they get those runway lights fixed, hey?
Departure Condor 500 2000 for 4000.
Condor 500, radar contact. Climb and maintain 12 on 2000.
Climb 12 on 2000, Condor 500.
Lufthansa 073, we've got things all cleared out. You're cleared to leave the hold at Ogber. Resume your arrival.
Cleared to exit the hold at Ogber. Resuming arrival Lufthansa 073, thank you. So we can clear out the hold, clear the discontinuity, and go nav mode. Now it's still getting something wrong, so we need to have a look at that. It's rendering something horrendously badly, isn't it? So we need to carry on down as well. So down to
136.45 E Delta Charlie Romeo Charlie Juliet.
down to 3,000 feet now. So descent rate is coming in. Can't quite go for that flap level just yet. It's trying to slow the airplane down on managed speed mode. Let's have a look at that. So we need to be 220 knots. So we're going to take charge of this and ask it for 220 knots, because it's obviously got its head a bit twisted up. There is a broken Ogba waypoint down here, isn't there? There it is.
Ladies and gentlemen, as we begin our final approach into Melbourne,
there we go.
We kindly ask that you turn off all electronic devices and stow them until we arrive at the gate. Please ensure your tray tables are put away. Your seats are in their full upright position, and your seat belts are fastened.
Okay, we've just come down through 10,000 feet, so landing lights are going on.
Our assigned gate
I'll set this to takeoff mode already on the nose leg.
Thank you for your
So when it does come down in a few minutes, it will be good. We're still in icing range, so we're going to be careful. You can see that we can't see anything. It's this mist, isn't there? So the airport is over there somewhere. We need to go and set the QNH. So we'll go for information, open airport, weather for Berlin. It's 1021. We also, if we go and look on the ILS chart, we'll see the transition level's 5,000 feet.
Direct bar. Descent altitude 2000. QNH 1020. Until established on the localizer. Cleared for the ILS runway 6 left approach.
Proceed direct Ligbar, descend altitude 2,000 feet, QNH 1020 until established on the localizer, cleared for the ILS, runway 6 left approach, Lufthansa 073. Ligbar. Are they going to try and bring us in earlier? No. Where's Ligbar? I don't have Ligbar on my chart. Ibgal. If in doubt, search. Navades. Ligba. No, we're not doing that. Were they still asking for 6 left? Yes. Berlin approach, Lufthansa 073. We cannot do Ligbar. We are going to continue on towards the ILS runway 6 left approach via the Ogba arrival. So we're aiming for 3,000 feet here. We didn't tune the... Oh yes, we did tune the ILS. We got it ready. Yep. So we'll need to switch this over to ILS mode, away from nav mode, when we are in striking distance of the ILS. Let's keep an eye. Should we go to head tracking mode now, so we can look around as we fly across the city? We should hold out at 3,000 feet, and we have done. We're still doing 220 knots. Let's go and refer to the charts. Yep, 220 knots is good. So we got a really good comment on the live stream about setting the engine management system. We're in cruise mode at the moment. So when we get onto finals, we'll switch over to either toga or maximum continuous thrust in case of a go around. So you can see we're just flying along the arrival. If we reduce the range even further, we get a much nicer diagram. Hopefully we'll start to pick up the localizer and the glide slope before too long. Let's go and double check those frequencies. So if we go and look over here, we've got 110.7, 64 degrees. 110.7, 64 degrees. The icing has gone away. Yeah, we still can't quite go to the next flap level unless we drop to 210 knots, but they're expecting us at 220. Yeah, we're not drawn on the map, look, which is what I suspected. Oh well. So just looking on here, we're approaching D535. If we look over here, there's D535. We're about to turn left again in towards the ILS. So here comes the first left turn in a few moments. So we were supposed to be at 6,000 feet. We're at 3. Should we climb back up a little bit, just to follow the rules a little bit better? I mean, this thing will get up there so quickly. Watch. This would be quite amusing, actually. We're going to get all sorts of complaints that we were flying low over the city. Look at it climb. They did clear us down to 3,000 feet, but typically on approach, or on arrival I should say, you should be sticking to the constraints, and I didn't. I went and told it, and the profile didn't stop it either, which is quite instrumental actually that it did that. So that proves profile mode doesn't obey the constraints in this aeroplane. In this situation it didn't. We came straight down. And we're just racing back up to 6,000 feet, and then we'll start descending again. So now we're back in the ballpark of where we should have been, and if we look out that way, we should see the airport scroll into view in a few moments. So we're passing 6,000, and now we can drop to 3,000, I think. Or we can just drop onto the approach, basically.
Delta Mike Tango Golf Lima contact. Flugplan TZ Takeoff Werkgesagt, radio on 133.585.
Switching to Flugplane TZ Takeoff Werkgesagt, radio on 133.585.
Do we have a...
Delta Mike Tango Golf
Okay,
Lima.
so we're minimum approach speed now. I'm just going to force the speed off a little bit.
Radar on 136.45.
Switching to Bremen, radar on 136.45.
So we actually want 210 knot maximum, look. They still want us above 4,000. This is interesting. So we'll just keep an eye on it. We're still way above the... We've got quite a long run in though, look. So that's going to be about 8 miles out. Oh, does it say here how far away? No, it actually, no, it doesn't. So 12 miles at Odido, okay. So it's quite a long run in. And we could be doing 210 knots according to the constraints. So if we go profile to get to 4,000, And you can see where it's estimating that's going to happen. And it's going to fall out of the sky. Can we see the runway yet? It's way out in front of us, quite a long way away. Not yet. So we're probably about 18 miles out. Why do we have nothing in between there and the runway? That's interesting. You can see the runway now. It suddenly appeared out of nowhere, look. So if we go to heading select mode and we pull this back and we go altitude hold and then we go ILS. There's the localizer. There's the glide slope. And then we can go... Actually, I'm going to fly it in. I was going to let it do some of it itself. So you can see the glide slope is coming down towards us. Let's go and press shift and space. Set ourselves up a little bit. I'm going to rearrange my desk so I can have the everything where I want it on my desk.
Delta Tango Lima Kilo Tango contact. Bienenfarm radio on 134.
Of course, we're going to have fun and games with the controllers, aren't we?
134.9.
Let's see if I can prompt them into releasing me to the tower.
Delta. Oscar Echo Kilo Zulu contact. Bienenfarm. Radio on 134.
Oh, come on, speed up. Berlin approach, Lufthansa 073 engaged on localizer for Berlin.
134.9er for Delta Oscar Echo Kilo Zulu. Good day.
Lufthansa 073, continue localizer approach, runway 06 left.
Continuing localizer approach 06 left, Lufthansa 073. Amanda, can you take over radio comms now?
I'll take over the radio comms now.
Okay, autopilot. We can't see it, can we? Off. Press the red button to cancel the alarm. Wiggle the wings, we have control. Auto throttle off.
Lufthansa 073, contact Berlin Tower on 118.805.
Switching to Berlin Tower on 118.805. Lufthansa 073. Berlin Tower, Lufthansa 073. Good evening. Established on the localizer runway 6 left approach.
Lufthansa 073, heavy Berlin Tower, roger, continue approach runway 06 left.
So the gear just did that trick that I was on about. So we're off to the left, we're a little bit low.
Lufthansa 073, heavy, runway 06 left, wind 020 at 3, cleared to land.
Runway 06 left, clear to land. Lufthansa 073.
So the only reason I've handed off to Amanda for the radio is because we've got that issue with having to key the radio frequencies in, and she can do it quicker than I can. And I've only got one set of hands, and I wanted to stay on the glide slope and the localizer, which you can see I have done. And we're now just managing speed and flaps. So flaps are at maximum already, gear is down, we're fully configured, landing lights are on. We can go and look outside if you want. a little bit low there while we were busy looking on the outside view. Speed's good, about 10 knots above the warning speed. So if we get any deviations in the wind, it's not likely to trigger anything too bad. We haven't set the QNH for the local, so I'm just doing that. Should have done that at 5,000. So we can now see the PAPI lights, and they are agreeing that we are a little bit low. So I'm just giving it a bit more power. Pulling the glide slope back towards the middle, and we should see the PAPIs agree with that. So what I'm looking at here is the mix of red and white lights. You can see we've got more red than white at the moment. It should go equal when the glide slope is in the middle, and it has done. So they agree.
Approaching runway.
Speed is good.
Left.
Configuration is good. Winds are calm, so it's actually quite straightforward for a change. On glide slope, we're getting a little bit slow, if anything. Reverses, now spoilers, and wheel brakes. We're not going to make that exit. It's a big old heavy lump. Reverses off, wheel brakes, and spoilers off, and high speed exit. We're away from the runway.
Lufthansa 073, exit at Lima 5 if able. Contact ground on 121.705.
Exit at Lima 5 if able. Contacting ground on 121.705. Lufthansa 073. Berlin ground, Lufthansa 073. Good evening, cleared of runway. Ready to taxi to the gate.
Lufthansa 073, Berlin ground, taxi to gate B03A via Lima 6, Delta, Victor 4, Victor Charlie.
Victor 4, okay. Delta, Victor 4, Victor Charlie.
Gate Bravo 03 Alpha, Lima 6 Delta, Victor 4,
so immediate
Victor
right
Charlie.
turn, basically.
Lufthansa 073.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Berlin. Did you know that Berlin is home to the famous Brandenburg Gate, which has stood as a symbol of peace and unity since the late 18th century? Thank you for flying with Lufthansa today. Please remain seated until we reach our final parking position. On behalf of your flight crew, thank you for flying with Lufthansa. The local time in Berlin is 12:48 a.m. For those with connecting flights, please note the following. Flight LH 123 to Munich departs at 1:15 p.m. from gate A15, and flight LH 456 to Frankfurt departs at 1:30 p.m. from gate B20. Thank you.
Okay, so we stay on here until we get to Victor 4, and then we're going into Bravo. So we have a live stream comment. I didn't set toga, did I? Oh dear. Okay, so we have a live stream comment. Hello from Cape Town. I've watched your videos and I've never seen a system running Flight Sim 2024 as smoothly as yours. Oh, I don't know. There's some people that run in 4K, some of the professional pilots that do YouTube channels like Sim Pilot, and there's lots of them that have got some really, really huge PCs that they run Flight Sim on, you know, with 5090 cards and all the rest of it. I've got a 4090 NVIDIA card. It's pretty good. I think the gains for a 5090 are negligible, given the way the sim was maybe 18 months ago. But yeah, you're talking £1,000 for 5% improvement though. So I'm not going to do that. Okay, we're just coming up to Victor 4. Which, okay, that was that one. This is Bravo. Coming up along here on the left. Lots of EasyJet planes parked up. So this is the Aerosoft edition of Berlin Brandenburg Airport. It's very nicely done, isn't it? So they were talking about us being on apron B, which is down the far end. So we'll get to do some plane spotting. So is that a Spirit that has the stripes? I can never remember. Some more EasyJets. There's a Eurowings, which is coming. KLM. So we need to pick a gate. Which one should we go for? The one with the truck parked in the way? Or go further on? There's a gap in between these two EasyJets, isn't there? I think. Famous last words. There won't be a gap at all, will there? No. Okay, we're going to turn back and go for the other one. The tower looks quite cool at night, doesn't it? We're going in this gap here. Very cool with all the buses and everything, isn't it? So if I park my aeroplane here, and let's see how we go about shutting down an A300 from memory. Ground equipment, we're going to request the chocks be put in place. We're going to request the GPU be put in place. And then we will go about switching on the external power. Which should be available. There it is. And then having done that, we can pull the fuel from the engines. It's very dark down here, isn't it? You can hardly see what we're doing. We've just pulled the fuel from the engines, so the engines are shutting down. Relays have kicked in to go over to external power. We should have taken the taxi light off by now, by the way. And the landing lights. But at least you got to see where we were going on the way back, hey? Strobe should have come off as we came off the runway. I really haven't followed procedures after landing at all. And there we go. So that's all good. We can obviously go and turn the fuel pumps off now. If I can hit the click spots, which are notoriously tiny because of the bug in the aeroplane. Okay. So then, having done that, we can go and toggle the jetway, and it will connect to the aeroplane. We can then go and open the door. Left one is in transit. There we go. And we can say goodbye to our passengers, I guess. So can we actually toggle that here? Hi, we can deboard the passengers now. Do we get control to do that in weight and balance, maybe? No.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just landed at Berlin-Brandenburg Airport. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened until we come to a complete stop at the gate.
We are.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Oh, I haven't turned the seatbelt sign off there, have I? Okay, seatbelts are off. You can let the passengers go.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have just landed at Berlin-Brandenburg Airport. Please remain seated with your seatbelts fastened.
She's not going to listen to me, is she? Oh well.
Thank you for your cooperation.
Condor, that's it. I was just reading the live stream. Yes, Condor has the stripes. Very cool. I need to get some airplanes with their liveries. Or download the liveries, I should say. Okay, so hopefully you enjoyed that. That was a flight from Manchester over to Berlin, really to go down memory lane, really. I haven't flown the A300 for a very long time. So it was interesting to take it out into the skies once again in the simulator and learn my way around it. Obviously, yeah, we had some snafus there with not following procedure quite correctly on the way in, but it was interesting to see St. Entious putting us into a hold, which made it obviously much more interesting on the way in. But yeah, other than that, it was all fine. It was interesting that the profile didn't hit the constraints on the descent. It blew straight through them or bust them. I'll have to have a read up on that, see if that was something I did. Maybe I missed something along the way. But yeah. So I can see the A350 is being mentioned in the live stream comments. Haven't flown that for ages too, so that's another one to go and revisit soon. I may have to go and have a practice first though. I know the A350 is a bit of a beast. I've got a written procedure for it though, and how difficult can it be? Famous last words. Anyway, thanks ever so much for following along. Hopefully you enjoyed that, and I'll see you all again soon. Take care.